Welcome to the Players Ball podcast for AT Aliens by AT Aliens. Welcome back. Oh, we got a lot of things happening, man. Oh, we didn't even mention another topic, but we'll dive in. Welcome back, brother Matthew. How have you been?
I'm good, man. Kids start school tomorrow, and I leave for a little Bahamas weekend getaway on Friday. So I'm living the good
Oh, we
life.
big lit. Yeah, man. You ain't even working no more this week. Do they know that? You started working already. Well, how long you gonna be there? Is that the cruise you're talking about?
Yeah, it's just for the weekend.
3 day. Very nice, man. That should be dope. Yeah, man. What do I have going this weekend? Nothing. Charlotte started back school on Tuesday. It's so silly, man. I won't use foul language. Um, so we live in the city of Decatur. Decatur City Schools is where Charlotte is in pre-K. Grayson is in DeKalb County Schools, and these chum buckets have different, not the children. They also will qualify for the name, but they have different fall breaks. Like, what am I supposed to do with that? So now, somebody's perfect attendance is out the window. It's just not gonna happen. But
It's
we'll
funny.
survive.
Sarah and I have had this conversation a few times, and I'm not saying that you should pull your kids out of school, but you can almost guarantee if someone's got perfect attendance, you're sending your kid to school sick, right? Like
Oh yeah.
no one is virus free 365. So I don't really
Uh,
look at those records as really much of anything because it's like I'm going to keep my kid at home when it needs to be at home instead of sending them to school for some silly record.
well, you take that up with my mother because I had 2 years back to back of perfect attendance. And I agree with what you're saying. I'm sure I went to school sick. I don't remember. It was fourth and fifth grade. I do remember that because
Um,
I got an award and everything.
I'm pretty sure, you know, I don't want to throw people's names out there, but one of our friends, um, he had perfect attendance from like all of elementary and middle school. Like never
Mm,
missed a day.
that's impressive.
Yeah.
I
He also probably went to school with a
mean,
100-degree fever.
we didn't have COVID running around, right? Now everybody's and it is a beast. We've both had it, um,
I don't know that
but
I've ever
it
had it.
changed the world. What?
I've never tested positive for COVID.
You've never? Okay, so then you are case number one.
The the reality is I more than likely have had it, but anytime I've actually thought I've had it and tested, I tested negative. So
Mm. I've tested since it started. I've tested positive 4 times.
you're just one of those.
Each strain, yeah, Delta, Omicron, and this last one we tested positive. Either April or May. That was one of the more mild ones. It was rough, but it was like a rough 24, and then from there it's just like just being congested. It sucks, but I mean, without having to deal with stuff like that, perfect attendance was in reach. Now it's like, nah. If they wake up, for Charlotte specifically, she wakes up in a bad attitude. I won't be able to do it this year because she does have to make a certain amount of days. I'm like, all right, well, just go back to sleep. Let's see when I get back. Me and Grayson got to go. I don't have time to deal with your shenanigans this morning. Worried about them tardies. Yeah, man. All right, so let's jump into it. I did one more anecdote. I did get, as I told you, I did get the college football 25. I'm ready now to jump into a dynasty. I had to get my sea legs first, man. 'Cause I jumped on there, and that's why I text you. Like, hey, what difficulty are you playing on? Because I think I went one above varsity. Is not Hall of Fame, but that third level.
All
and I
American.
got All American. Bruh, I got drugged. And it was really frustrating, right? Because it's a rivalry game. It's Georgia State versus Georgia Southern. They set it up like that. I put Georgia State as my favorite team, right? And then we go into the game, and then Brittany comes in, and I'm already down like 28 to 28 to 7. And she's like, "Oh man, what's going on?" I was like, "Get out of here! Get up! Get out of here!" Oh man, they hit 50 on me. But I refused to stop until I scored again. And it was just the mechanics, but I did end up scoring again on All American. But I then went down to varsity and I got some confidence. I was like, man, I can't play this game. I don't want to be just getting thrashed left and right. So I started my ultimate team, and I'll probably do my road to glory. We can do dynasties, but I'm in. I do like it. I think it's pretty cool. It's very so because everyone's not a pro, knowing your personnel is super important, right? I kept trying to pass with the Panthers quarterback. That ain't something he can do. Go figure, right? But their running back is nice, so I was able to get some good yards. Last funny part, my on my ultimate team, the Georgia State Panthers starting quarterback is a freshman version of Georgia's current quarterback.
Carson Beck.
Yeah, Carson Beck. He's pretty good. He's got like the shorter haircut and everything.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, he's way better than what I was dealing with before.
I haven't ventured into the ultimate team yet. I just started Dynasty with KSU. I'm coach Mateo Simon, and
Mateo Simo.
and I'm in my second season. And right now we're undefeated. We're number 3 in the country. We're playing up against number 4 LSU. So we'll see.
Do you just pick the plays, or do you run them as well?
So I've been using the play the moments feature.
Mm,
So the computer will decide like key moments in the game, like a third down, and the offense needs your help. So I'll step in and run the third down. I pretty much
yeah,
run most of the like red zone offense. I'll step in on a third or fourth down and defense sometimes. I'm really not a fan of playing defense with some of those scrubs. It's
yeah,
really difficult. So,
it is.
um, but no, I've really just tried to get into like the recruiting side of it and like learn that whole dynamic of the game and build up my coaching prestige.
Gotta love it, man. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I do want to start one with you, man. We'll have to put that on the books
Yeah, for
because
sure.
I am enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. It's
When
really
I
fun.
when I return from the
Yeah,
the cruise, we'll get one set up.
let's plan that. Okay, action into live action sports, man. The trade deadline has come and gone. There was a conversation the day before it that I sent you a clip of our favorite sports radio station, 92.9 A Game. It was a Dukes and Bell segment, and on one side of the fence you had me, which is crazy because it's also the brother, the black man, and on the other side of the fence you had you and Mike Bell, our salt and pepper dynamic in full representation, and they had similar thoughts to what we were expressing on what we thought the Braves should do. Right, you and I came to an agreement on just more of an understanding of what you were looking to do. But initially, I was thinking that you were like, "Hey, sell it all out. Let's go ahead and get a winner in here now." And I'm like, "Well, if you can't add pieces that are going to make you better than one of the best teams in the league, maybe you just got to ride it out, right? And just see if they can turn it around because you have all these injuries. You don't want to pay players to sit in those spots when it's not a long term that's not a long term role that they can play. All right. But that said, we did make some moves. And I like the moves we made.
Yeah, so I do think, and we didn't really get into the conversation of it, but I'm never in support of trading for a rental. And a lot of
Mm,
teams do that, right? They'll trade for a guy that's not under club control. So at the end of the season, he's a free agent. And you've basically spent prospects to get a guy for the last 2, 3 months of the year. To me, that's not a smart business decision. But if you've got a guy that is at least under contract for the next year or more, like that's always more advantageous. Something that I would consider as a move we should make. I made the point, and AA did not listen to me. I tried. I gave him a call. He didn't answer. Um, but
busy man.
I made the point. Max Fried. He's supposed to be coming back this week. Apparently, his arm's feeling good. He's been throwing, but he's his contract's up. He's a free agent going into this offseason. And if the last couple years are any indication, Freddie Freeman, Dansby Swanson, even Jorge Soler and Eddie Rosario and Adam Duvall, who all happened to find themselves back in the A, but they were all casualties of wanting more money than what AA was willing to shell out. And so
Hmm.
I am concerned that this could be the last time we see Max Fried as a Brave. Saying that, I had posed the question to you that maybe we should go out and find a guy as an insurance policy that if Max does walk, we still have that frontline ace. Uh, I could see the arguments that you're going to get back Spencer Strider, who's going to be your frontline ace going forward. Chris Sale looks to be worth every penny we've given up for him, and then Ronaldo Lopez the same. It wouldn't hurt though to have four very, very, very good um, pitchers. So
Yeah, I'm with you. I
we di-
think. Go ahead.
we didn't go that route, right? We actually did not pick up any pitching help. I think the general belief is that we have enough competent arms. Spencer Schwellenbach
Schwellenbach.
has done really well. Bryce Elder actually pitched the gym last night. And he was he wasn't pitching against a slouch squad, right? He's pitching against a division leader, a team with a better record than us. So I too am like, it's Elder, right? He's gonna fail
Right.
the next time out, but
Hmm.
I'll give him his flowers. He pitched a good game last night. He contributed to winning the series that we just finished up today, and we can get more into that in a second. But we didn't get any pitching help. Instead, AA decided to go for the other needs, and that was a bat, an extra outfielder. Um, so yeah, Jorge Soler rejoins us, 2021 World Series MVP.
I had him on a shirt. I made that shirt when he hit that swing. Yeah, I mean it was probably the. I'll never forget that. I can see that swing in my mind right now. Right, it's one of the most beautiful things I've seen. Right in
Dude, he
sports.
absolutely hit the leather off the ball, and he pimped that thing. Turns to the dugout, starts
You see me? You see me out here?
starts yapping, pumping everybody up, hyping everyone up. Yeah, that's a for sure got to be in one of the top iconic sports moments of our
For the city.
lifetime. Yeah,
Yeah, or yeah, over our lifetime, like not
for
even
for the
just the city of
city.
Atlanta,
Yeah,
but no, but baseball fans that saw that will remember it, right? Whether you had a dog in the fight or not. That was just, I mean, it was just a monster home run at the perfect time, and the way that he did it, the swag that he had, man, you can't buy that, right? I want to circle back to one thing you said about rentals. I'm not a fan of it if we're in the position we are now, right, where we're grasping, we're holding for dear life onto that wild card spot. But if we're in a place like the Brewers, right, leading their division, and you want that extra piece that you think will put you over the top, that will make you better than the Phillies or was another team, the Rangers.
the Dodgers.
or the Dodgers. That's what I was looking for. The Phillies or the Dodgers, right? You can do that. I'm with that. If you want to go out there and win at this very moment, I think a rental's not that bad. But we weren't there, right? I had mentioned Mark Teixeira because that's exactly what I think we did in that season. We knew we were only going to have him for a little bit of time. We thought him being there would put us over the top, and the Cardinals came to town. Um, I think that was the series with the shenanigans, but we didn't accomplish what we wanted, and at the end of the season, he walked to New York. So on the other side of that, Jorge Soler coming back is good, but where does he fit in next year?
I
Right?
don't
And they
know.
said he hasn't played full time outfield this year.
So I think it's also a hedge because I believe, and I could be wrong, Marcel's contract is technically up at the end of
Hmm.
this year, but I think he does have either a team or a player option. So we could still have him on the hook, but he could walk at the end of the year. So I don't know what Jorge Soler's contract looks like. You know, for all I know, he could be a rental. Um,
No, multi years.
okay.
He's under Braves control.
So he could be the replacement to Marcel if Marcel did opt out or the Braves chose not to exercise an option and re-sign him. And
Yeah, 9 years, 30 million.
9,
So he signed that with the Cubs. He's been with two teams since then, but he's under contract for. Let's see what it says.
9 years is a long time.
Oh yeah. So maybe it's six now. Six remaining. 13. They will owe Soler 13 million in 25 and 13 million in 26. And Atlanta's picking up every penny of the contracts.
Yeah, so we'll have to look into some details on that, but I do like the move, right? He played a left field today. He started out in left, I believe.
That's good.
Either left or right field. It was Rosario, Kelnick, and Soler. Don't I don't remember who was at which corner. Typically we see Duval out and right, and Rosario and left. So Jorge was probably in right field. But we also saw one of our other non trade deadline, but just prior to the trade deadline, we signed off of waivers. I mentioned it last week, and you didn't believe me when I said he got here and got injured. But Whit
Mm.
Merrifield, he we picked him up on waivers. He showed up, was out in warm-ups or something, and somehow split his finger open. And so he's been on the bench. That's why Nacho Alvarez got called up when Ozzy got hurt, but he has been since sent back to Gwinnett, and Whit Merrifield made his first start as a Brave today. So,
Okay.
and he did pretty well. He went 1 for 3, walked, and scored a run. So, I mean, right now we need base runners,
Not bad.
so that we can
Oh
produce
yeah.
runs. That's one thing. Jorge Soler, his numbers aren't crazy this year, but his on base percentage is higher than the Matt Olsons and the Austin Rileys who have been struggling a little bit, just hot and cold. Um, so he's not afraid to take a walk. He's filling in that leadoff position. So I'm hopeful, and I think we have every reason to believe that he's gonna help provide some extra offense for this team that's surely needing it.
He's batting. He's in the. Oh, you say cleanup or did you say leadoff? You say
Leadoff,
leadoff?
yeah, which is a spot
Where's
we've really
Jerry
struggled.
Kelnick batting at?
I'm not sure where he batted
He was having
today.
some success there over like a week or so. A couple weeks ago.
He had a good run in leadoff, I think, at the beginning of the month, and then he's kind of cooled off. I'm not exactly
Mm,
sure where he batted today, but for sure, Jorge Soler led off. And then prior to Kelnick, it was Michael Harris, and Michael Harris has struggled in that leadoff spot pretty much throughout his career. He does really well at the bottom of the order because he's a decent hitter, and with Ronnie at leading off, they wouldn't pitch around him.
right.
So
So he's gonna be on the base path, ready for it to be a run. It
yeah,
was they moved Kelnick down to 10th.
yeah.
And they had Ramon. Oh man, they were trashing that guy, Ramon Laureano.
He uh he had a redemption game in New York, but he had a really bad game in New York as well. Um, Cost us a game pretty much in New York with some bonehead base running and fielding
Yeah,
mistakes. So
they
that
talked about that. That's why they were dogging him.
that Met series, right? So it couldn't have started any worse. We go out, we lose the first two. They take over as the second place in the division. They bump us out of the wild card,
Hmm.
and they start just having parades in the media, ready to crown the Mets, ready to cook the Braves, finish them.
It's
They're
our
done.
time.
Yeah, and we turn around and win the next two, take back the second place in the wild card or in the division, take back our wild card spot, and we haven't relinquished it since. I mean, there's only been 3 games since that series has concluded, but we were, I guess, 5-1 in
Mm.
those basically since they crowned the Mets. We've gone 5-1. So
Yeah, did we sweep the Brewers? No, we lost that
no,
first
we
one. Huh?
we lost
Yeah.
game one. It was awful, man. They had uh Garrett Holmes or whatever his name is. He reminds me of Kenny Powers from Eastbound and Down.
Yeah.
um who actually pitched pretty well, but old Jesse Chavez came in and didn't have a Jesse Chavez outing, and the wheels
He had
fall off.
a nine Braves Jesse Chavez, Jesse Chavez outing.
Yeah. I think he's older than Charlie Morton.
Charlie,
Yeah.
he may be. I know he's old. He's in his
Yeah.
40s.
Uh but yeah, so he had a Jesse Chavez like outing, and the wheels fell off and we got absolutely annihilated. Like I said last night, Bryce Elder pitched to Jim. We got a couple long ball knocks, and this afternoon they played. I already told you Jorge went 0 for 3, but um, he got on base with a walk. Olson and Travis Darno both hit home runs. They went back to back twice in that game.
Mm.
The first teammates to go back to back more than once in a game since 1998. Witt, I told you he went 1 for 3. He scored a run and walked, so that on base percentage. And the Phillies also lost today. They got swept
Got
by,
swept by the Yanks. Yeah.
yeah, so we're 6.5 games back currently, which is probably the smallest I've
Hmm.
seen that lead in a long time. And
Yeah.
just looking at their records, how they compare in July, the Phillies were 10-14. That's 416 win percentage. The Braves were 12-13 for a 480 win percentage.
Hmm.
So definitely a better month of July for us than them. And you,
By a smidge. Right.
but you string a couple more of those together, and you don't know what the division's going to look like come into August or into
And I know we got
September.
another series against them. Two more, I believe. One in each part.
Yep. So
So that's gonna be interesting. What before we move out to trade? What about old Lukey Dookie? You excited to have him back, man?
it's funny. I was talking to a coworker about this. So apparently, they traded me to the Giants.
Hmm?
Yeah. Remember when we were at the Braves, or not the Braves. Well, it started when we were at the Braves World Series
We were watching
parade.
at the Battery. Oh,
No,
the
we were
parade.
at the parade and we were waiting to get in the stadium, and somebody came up to me and was like, "You look like Tyler Matzik."
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
when we were at
Oh,
the
you. I
draft,
got you. I got you.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
when
yeah.
we were at the
You
Falcons
catch that
game,
all the time, but when we was on the top of the little cart.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "Has anyone ever told you you look like Tyler Matzik?" So apparently, my doppelganger, Tyler Matzik, got traded to the Giants. So I'm sad about that, but at the same time, the picture I saw of him, he was like in an arm sling. Um, his injury, I guess, is pretty severe, and he hasn't really been pitching.
Yeah,
Um, so Lukey Dookie, or what's his name, Luke Skywalker, or he has some
yeah, yeah.
Star
Some.
Wars themed play on his name. Um, he comes back to us. You know, he contributed to that 2021 World Series, so I can't dog the man too bad, but I can't lie if I told you I didn't nearly have a heart attack every time he got on the mound.
Oh yeah, man. It's anxiety inducing. Every time he was out there, I was like,
And
oh, here we go.
what's crazy about old 77 is he would get 2 outs like it was nothing. Like he'd come in, 2 pitches, 2 outs. The ninth inning,
Bases loaded, man.
we're up by 5. And next thing you know it, we're up by 1, bases loaded, everyone's sweating. So yeah, we'll see. Maybe the Luke Jackson experience will not be too bad. I do
As long as it's different this time.
I do hear it was all about the money, right? Like it was just moving some money
Mm,
to stay under that third luxury tax threshold. So
yeah. Okay.
good luck to what do they call him? They call him Big Nuts Matzik because of that
Yeah.
epic series against the Dodgers in which old Lukey Dookie loaded the bases.
He came in and
It
saved the
came
day.
in and shut the door. 3 straight strikeouts.
Mm-mm.
Old Pujols, some rookie, I can't even remember the name of it, but then he capped it off with the man, the myth, the legend, the Mookie Betts, who talked about that on his podcast when Freddie was
I
a
remember you sent
guest,
me that. Yeah.
and he just said he was just throwing straight gas that night. I've seen a lot of um, fan posts like just thanking Matzik for his time in Atlanta and showing the clips from that broadcast. And
Mm,
the sure enough on the broadcast, the third strike he threw past Mookie Betts, 99 miles an hour.
yeah. Cooking with grease, man. Yeah. Best of luck with that guy, man. I hope he makes a full recovery. Um, we shall see. Great. What would you grade it? Trade or
Overall,
deadline move?
I'm gonna give it a C plus right now, just
Okay.
because I feel like we left some pretty big holes.
Yeah.
Still on the team defensively, right? I don't know what Whit Merrifield's gonna bring. Ozzy's out for another like 6 weeks and plus a
Yeah.
rehab
It's terrible.
assignment. So
Hmm.
yeah, I like the move, but I think we needed to do more. Maybe we'll see. Time will tell, right?
Time will tell. We're gonna see what those young arms really got now. One of them's gonna get a shot. All right. Well, our favorite time of year is coming up. All right, football is returning. Thank goodness. What a time to be alive, right? The Falcons. A lot to talk about with the Falcons, man. We were talking about. Had you seen any? I asked you before we started. Had you seen any clips of minicamp? You said you had seen quite a few. There were back-to-back clips that I saw. One of Kyle Pitts catching a corner touchdown from Kurt, which was like a thing of beauty. And the comment was Arthur Smith has to be losing his mind, right? Seeing the tools that should have been utilized. And the other one actually happened to be Michael Penix hitting Drake London in the opposite corner, and equally as beautiful a touch and catch, man. So the future is bright. Oh man, I'm excited. I'm excited about this Falcons season, man.
So you asked me about it, and I told you I had seen quite a few, and I was gonna reserve some of my comments till we were discussing it right now. And I saw the clips that you're referring to. I've seen others. Michael, um, not Penix. Oh man, why can't I get his name right
What
now?
position?
Pitts. Sorry, Kyle Pitts. I had
Michael
all.
Pitt. Gotcha.
I had Michael Penix, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London's names all jumbled in my head for a second. But anyways, Kyle Pitts just absolutely cooking Helms on several
hmm
plays. I saw one today. I honestly not sure who caught the ball, but they were just showing how beautiful the ball is that Kirk Cousins throws. Like, he throws a
Yeah, nah,
beautiful
he's
ball,
dropping dimes for sure.
but like it makes me excited. Don't get me wrong. I'm hype. I think this offense is going to look great, but it also makes me question like, are we going to play defense this year? Like,
Oh yeah. I think they're just facing some of the best players in the league, right? I mean,
are they? Or are they
everybody's
just
not gonna
straight
have.
garbage?
Listen, everyone's not gonna have a Kyle Pitts. Kirk Cousins has been one of the best quarterbacks in the league the last, let's call it 5 years. He's been top 10, maybe even top five in some seasons. Like last year, he was well on his way. Kyle Pitts, you know how I feel about him, but he has looked in training camp. He's looked amazing. Drake London, he looked really good with two, not even subpar, like bottom barrel quarterbacks, right? Um, I don't think there's gonna be a whole lot of people that's stopping that, man. It's gonna sound crazy. I'm starting to have Super Bowl aspirations, my brother. They look that good on offense, dog. We should put up 30 a game.
they
I
look
haven't even seen anything of Bijan and Tyler Algier, man.
they look that good in shorts and t-shirts.
They had on helmets and pads in some of those clips.
Yeah, no, like I'm with you. I have high hopes for this team. I mean, it takes a lot of luck to win. Like, you got to have a good squad, but it also takes a lot of luck to win a Super Bowl because of injuries and different things that can
hmm
completely change the trajectory of a season in the blink of an eye. Uh, but to think that this team is capable of winning a Super Bowl or even a deep playoff run, I don't think that's that crazy, right? Like, that's not
Yeah,
a crazy notion. Now, do a lot of things have to go right for that to happen? I think so.
a
Um,
lot. There's a list,
yeah. And one of
but it's
them
not
is
outside of the realm of possibilities, though.
the defense has to prove to be formidable to some degree, right? Um, there's a lot of question marks we still have on the defensive side of the ball. One being who's going to be your number two corner. Um,
hmm
you still have questions about can this team produce a pass rush? I think the the combination of all of its parts could make it a top 10 defense, but they haven't yet produced to that level, so it's just
Yeah.
uh conjecture at this moment.
Again, a lot of things have to fall into place, and you had to get a little bit lucky. But that's a perfect pivot to the pivot, right? There was a smaller clip that I saw. You watched the whole pod episode. Shout out to the fellow podcasters at the pivot. We aspire to be on y'all level at some point. But they had Raheem Morris on. The clip that I saw, he was talking about the defense, right? He was saying, like, obviously they know Kyle Pitts, AJ Terrell, and Grady Jarrett. Um, but the players that we brought on, he was mentioning Zach Harrison from last year, who he didn't go crazy at the end of the year, but you saw some flashes from him. Who's our other big man, big
He
anchor?
he brought up David Onyemata.
Yeah, David Amon-Ra, right? But then then maybe it was in a different. Oh, I heard Terry Fontenot on the radio today, and he was talking about some other ones, right? He was talking about Kalen Price, Duke Ororo. Uh, who else was he talking about? Who's the other guy?
Was
I
Price
don't
our
know.
first defensive pick? Was that the guy from
No, Duke
Washington?
was. He was our first defensive pick. He was our second round. We traded back up to get Price.
But Price is the Washington.
Yeah,
Yeah, led the NCAA
captain.
in
Yeah,
in
yeah,
in
yeah.
sacks
That's him.
last year. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what the young guys do, what they bring. Obviously, um, they're untested, unproven at this point, but you drafted them. They need to produce, and
But you
if they,
drafted them for a reason, though, right? You
yeah,
didn't draft them because they were proven at that level. They're unproven at the professional level, but they're well proven in the college ranks. And a lot of times that you have some that's slower to translate, and you have other times where they come out firing
honestly,
on all cylinders.
I think defense is the easiest transition from, at least defensive line is the easiest
Mm.
transition from the college game to the pros, just because in terms of scheme, you don't have as much that you have to learn. Now, the physicals, like transitioning from going against NFL talent offensive linemen every play, like that's a big jump, but you don't have to learn a playbook
Yeah.
in the way a wide receiver or a quarterback has to study, a playbook in a scheme. You
And
got to
none of these
go out.
defensive linemen played in the SEC, right? There's some big boys on the offensive line in the SEC
Yeah.
and the Big Ten, right?
Yeah.
But they're all outside of that. Like Clemson wasn't playing against 6'7", 300-pound linemen, or maybe they were. I don't think they were though.
Yeah. Clemson's level of competition was far inferior to any SEC team. But just to finish my point, when you're on the defensive line, it's just man on man, right? It's like you just got to beat your man. Whereas if you're playing quarterback, you got to set the team up. You got to audible into a better play or make some calls to set your guys up for better. You got to help communicate to the offensive line. Like there's a
Hmm.
lot of mental pieces that go into it. Then you have to process everything like real time and make a decision and make a throw. You're not doing that as a defensive end. You are straight mano y mano, just trying to beat the man in front of you. And so, for that reason, I think it is an easier transition um, from the college game to the pros. And that's why you see some guys have really early success on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense to me. And I'm hoping that that's what happens with our young rookies because
Yeah.
they're gonna get some run.
Yeah. I
They
mean,
have to get some run.
Raheem Morris says that, forget exactly how he put it, but he talked about how the team, they were trying to put people in roles and give those roles, and um, each player had to basically own their role, buy into their role, and make that part of their identity. And when you do that, you tend to see guys really step up and really play to their potential when they fully take ownership over that role and buy into it and just like give it their all.
Hmm.
And just listening to him talk about it, like you can't, like no person, unless you have no soul, can listen to that man talk and not get fired up, right? Like the
Yeah,
whole, you only watched the clip. I really, really, really encourage you to go watch the whole hour long episode, the pivot, Ryan Clark, Fred Taylor, and Channing Crowder.
Yeah.
And what's really kind of took me by surprise was their relationship with Raheem Morris specifically. Like Ryan Clark played for him. I think Channing Crowder maybe played for him or had some sort of connection to him. I don't
Hmm.
know what Fred Taylor's connection to him was, but honestly, Fred was quiet for the most part. But when he would talk, man, you could just tell like the level of intelligence that guy
Hmm.
has and his understanding of the game, because his comments were and his questions were like so spot on, um, really intriguing. But just listening to them just talk to him and like call him family and treat him like a brother or even a father.
Yeah.
And they were talking about how uh Raheem's son is played with Ryan Clark's son and jumped on the trampoline with him, and their families were close. And he was just
Oh wow.
talking about all the relationships that he's had and built in the league. And you're like, wow, like this man is impressive. Like beyond the X's and O's, one of his obvious skills is relationship building. And it's really cool to see that interaction, especially because those were, you know, not necessarily peers, but former NFL players that that have a lot of respect and admiration and know him on a personal and professional level. So it is really cool. It got me pumped up. Every time I listen to Raheem speak, do anything, I get more excited about the team and I get more convicted that we hired the perfect man for the job.
That's amazing. And I'm definitely gonna go back and check it out. Did Fred Taylor offer any opinions on Bijan?
Not
Not
no,
specifically.
no, he didn't
Okay.
go into any detail. I was gonna say one of the things that really kind of I thought was astute. I think it was Channing Crowder who I didn't realize Channing Crowder is from Atlanta, played at North Springs High School, and played against Sean McVay when Sean McVay was at Marist, and he had a little bit of I don't know, trash talk, for the lack of a better way to put it, just jawing against Sean McVay for their time experience playing against one another. But the thing that I thought was really neat, somebody asked Raheem specifically about the Falcons job, and they brought him in as the interim, and then they let him go, and then the job came up, and they asked him like what it's like when that phone call rings and the Falcons want to interview you. Like, do you still have that like animosity? This team fired you, they didn't want you,
Yeah.
this and that. And his response was basically like, no, I look at it this way. We do this all the time with players, right? Like we cut guys, we give them a spiel, we tell them like, hey, we just don't
Hmm.
have room for you. We like you. Maybe work on these few things, and if things line up in the future, we'll give you a call back. And you expect like guys to get cut and then get signed to a practice squad. Like they deal with this day in and day out. And he's like, I can't have the expectation level for those guys to be able to just move on and forgive or whatever you want to call it and not hold that same expectation for myself in the same scenario just because I'm
Yeah.
at the coaching level. So I thought it was really cool just hearing him talk about that and actually say without fully saying that this was the job he wanted. Like
Mm.
he wanted this job before it was even, offered to him as a potential. Like the job opens
Yeah.
up and he wants that job. So that was cool. He wanted to be here. He had nothing but amazing things to say about Arthur Blank and the way Arthur does things. His relationship with Terry Fontenot. Actually, Terry Fontenot kind of uh, comes in towards the middle to end of the podcast. Just kind of, um,
And into the room?
yeah,
Like he was there?
like makes a little cameo. In the beginning, it starts out with them like showing up to the facility and meeting Raheem, and he kind of gives them like a brief tour, and they run into Steve Smith, who's in there doing some sort of work. The whole thing is really cool. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Definitely, it will pump you up. It will get you excited for this year, and it will give you a lot of respect for Raheem and the type of man he is. Uh, the respect he has from his peers, from guys around the league, players that have played for him. So, like, yeah, A class guy. Like, that's my
Hey,
coach.
man, that's my coach. That's my coach. That's my quarterback.
Yeah.
No, man, I'm excited, and if I can intensify my anticipation, I'm gonna do it. So I'm gonna go watch that podcast, man. There was a tweet that came out from the Falcons official social account saying that the season tickets they've sold out.
Yeah, a
Right,
lot of hype, man.
first time in a long time. A lot of hype. So I think that Raheem Morris is a big piece of that. I think Captain Kirk is another piece of that. But just the general buzz around the city is high about the Falcons, right? We're finally out of this, this quarterback hell that people were saying that we were in, and that Amon-Ra St. Brown personally experienced, right? So I sent you that clip of him and Devontae eating chicken for the hot ones, and he was asked. Amon-Ra St. Brown was asked, what's the worst fan base, and he came in and said, the Packers, but that's because he's a Lion, but they have good fans. But that the Falcons were the worst fan base because when he played here his rookie year, stadium was empty, right? And then they show they show like pictures of the stadium, and who knows if that was the actual game. But being a season ticket holder, I've definitely seen that, um, and it's quite a conundrum. I don't think it's as empty as it appears, having been in the not the suites, but what am I talking about? The under the bleachers,
The
under
club.
the yeah, being in the club, right? That place is always packed, and that is the section that gets the most visibility from the cameras, right? But the club is packed, so it's not that it's not sold out. Well, it obviously wasn't sold out, or it wouldn't have been as big news as it was, but it wasn't empty. That said, Falcons need some butts and seats, man, third and fourth quarter, and that's something that I have seen has been a problem with the organization. So I can't necessarily disagree with him. Um, but when you build it, they will come. We talked about that, right? The people will get behind the Falcons as long as the Falcons are making moves that people believe in. And I think that's what we're doing now.
Yeah, like I can't disagree with his experience, right? Like his experience was his experience, and I'm sure when we played against Detroit 2, 3 years ago, when um I think it was 2 years ago with Amon-Ra was a rookie, and that was the Marcus Mariota uh season. We were terrible, and I the fans were probably all either not in the stadium, or if they were in the stadium because they paid money for those tickets, they were enjoying all the amenities, as you
You're right.
mentioned. So like that was his experience. I do think it's a very small sample size, and it's a very broad statement to cast the fan base as the worst that he's experienced or the worst in the league, just because I do think, and Raheem talked about it on the pivot. He's talked about it in other pressers. Matt Ryan brought it up in his little speech he gave the team before they announced he was going into the Ring of Honor.
Hmm.
Kirk Cousins mentioned it in a presser that I saw earlier today, that the city will get behind you, and you just have to earn it. I think it was Raheem who said specifically, you got a lot of people in the city from New York, you got a lot of the people from the city from Philly and from all over the place, and you can't expect those guys to just come here and root for you just because they're here now, right? Like you got to
Right.
earn it. But if you win, as they experienced in 2016, that excitement, that support will come. It will build. I've been in the stadium when it's absolutely on fire packed with Falcons fans. You've witnessed it
Yeah.
firsthand. Like it will happen if you go and perform on the field, right? Like this team, the city, we're not going to buy a subpar product. That's just how we are.
Yeah.
And it could be the transient effect where, like Raheem mentions, you got a lot of people from all over the place and they come and they're not going to instantly adopt the home team, that you got to earn it. Or it could just be that as fans, we're just so sick of the ownerships of yesteryear trying to get us to buy a product that was subpar. And now, especially with the way the economy is, I'm not going to spend my hard earned money on something that I don't believe in. So
Right.
even if I love the Falcons, and I do, like, I'm not going to go out and spend $200 per ticket to go see them get their butts whipped. I can do that at home for free.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately, I've been spending it the last couple of years, but I have been one of those amenity enjoyers. So
Yeah.
it's a cool place to be, man. It's been a Sunday afternoon because we didn't have any primetime games last year. Mad disrespect. Um, but yeah, now the excitement, I'm bubbling with excitement, man. Um, I can't wait. I can't wait. We got the Hall of Fame game is tomorrow, so we officially kick off the NFL tomorrow. I don't know when does college start? Next week?
We're
Next Saturday?
I think we're 2 weeks.
2 weeks?
I could be wrong. I have to double check. It is
Okay.
very early in August, though.
Yeah. Yeah, man. Football's back, baby. Um, let's throw a little bonus in there. I think we got another minute or two. The Olympics. You've been watching. What have you seen? What has impressed you? Give
So
me your Olympic pick.
I haven't been able to watch a ton. Let's see, I watched some of the swimming last night. Saw Simone and the women's take the gold and the team all around. That was
Hmm.
pretty cool. Oh, what did I watch the night before? Um, it was so impressionable that I can't remember what it was. Um, no, I mean, I saw the U.S. got some redemption. The men's basketball team got some redemption against the South Sudan team.
Yeah.
Beat them pretty good. Left nothing to be questioned this time. And
Yeah.
then I saw the 3-on-3 teams, both the men's and the women's, have not been doing so well. Women's soccer is doing well. The men's soccer, I think they're 1-1. The
Mm.
second game that they won, there was a fantastic set piece goal that I caught a clip of that is definitely worth the watch. I have no idea who this guy was, never heard of him before, but he did his thing out there.
Yeah.
Uh,
I saw. I've watched pretty much every day. Like when I come down, instead of turning on the news, I'll turn on. There we go. I'll turn on the Olympics, right? So I've seen, like this morning, I watched beach volleyball. We were talking about that last week, and after watching the pod back, let's to clarify, that I wasn't calling the male beach volleyball players stallions, right? I wasn't also trying to objectify. I was objectifying the women, but it was in a positive light, right? They are stellar athletes. But I was watching the women's today. The Americans beat the French in front of a ruckus crowd, right? Ruckus home field advantage. That was pretty good watching that because there was some real back and forth. There were some nifty trick shots made by the Americans as far as like not always setting and spiking. There were some little shorties hit that landed, and they were talking about it's like, yeah, that's like the onside kick. The commentator, one of them was a former volleyballer, so they were like that was like an onside kick. Like everyone's saying, it's the dumbest play in the world if you don't get it, but when you get it, you're a genius. So they're saying that about them. Um, I watched some swimming. I watched the men's all around, not the men's all around from last night, but I watched this morning. I saw the all around competition for the individual
Yeah,
medals.
individuals. It was the Japanese guy who won gold.
Yeah, 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 and the things that they do are quite impressive, man. I really like diving. I haven't seen any diving. I don't think that's really started diving or track. Shout out to the USA women's rugby team. I think they said it's been 100 years since America has medaled in rugby.
Wow.
So shout out to them. And it was a full sprint to the goal. I don't know rugby terms, but and it's such a
I think
it's
it's called
so
like
different from football, right?
I think it's
Um,
called like the take line or something. I don't know rugby
the
really
take
well.
line. Yeah, but that was good. I watched some equestrian stuff with the kids, man. They had a long sprint with the horses, not the dancing, which is also cool. I saw a clip of that.
Cross country.
Uh, yeah, yeah, cross country with the horses, where they had to do they were jumping over into some water at some point, and then had a long sprint across a bridge. That's very elegant animals, man. I like that Snoop Dogg and Flavor Flav are like team representatives. So one's a volleyball player and the other one's water polo, right?
Yeah, so apparently Flavor Flav like sponsored the water polo team, gave them all like money
Yeah.
or, fair to get out there, helped hook them up. And I
Hmm.
Sarah sends me some clips every day, multiple times a day of Snoop doing his
Equestrian event. Oh,
no,
Snoop.
Snoop doing
Yeah,
his little commentary. It's always
yeah.
a added entertainment factor for sure.
He was talking with Michael Phelps this morning. He's like, Mike, we basically the same guy, man. Let's get in here and do some laps. He started swimming. He eventually was just crooked as hell and swam right into the wall. What else though? Oh, so that Flavor Flav story was real interesting, right? The captain of the team was like, some of us have to work a second and or third job to follow this dream, and Flav stepped in. Yeah, he helped out, and she was calling her mom. The funny part, she called her mom, and she was telling her about Flavor Flav. And she's like, I just got this desire to put on a big clock right now and cry.
That's cool.
I was like, that's dope, man.
But yeah, it's been fun. I saw some renderings. I don't know if they're real or not, but it had me kind of excited. But it's the 2028 Olympics, I believe, hosted by LA.
Mm,
And they showed in this in these renderings they showed I think it was like the track and field events taking place in the LA Coliseum,
Coliseum, gotta be, yeah.
and then it would be the only place that has hosted the track and field for the Olympics 3 times. And then
Really? Huh.
they had the basketball or some other events at the new Clippers arena that they're building.
Hmm.
And then they have the swimming in SoFi Stadium, which would
Really?
produce the largest swimming event crowd in the history of the Olympics.
You
Pretty
know
cool.
they had a swimming event at the bench?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, it
dope.
was kind of wild to watch. Yeah, it looks super dope. I mean, going out to LA it's a lot cheaper than going to Paris. I had to try to make that happen because I told you my mom shipped us out when the Olympics were here, so I've never actually been able to partake. Um, Another thing that I saw that I believe it was a rendering. So Al Roker and I don't know the other guy's name, but there's a new wing being built. Well, there's a new Universal Park being built in Florida, right? And all of them will have a Harry Potter theme. And this one is the Ministry of Magic, the Paris Ministry of Magic. It
Huh.
looks so cool, man. Going traveling by flow powder, and having they got like Dolores Umbridge warnings around on the wall. I love those Harry Potter sections of the universe. I think they're incredibly done.
Yeah, they say
Especially Diagon Alley, man. That place is super dope.
so. You're talking about Epic Universe. It's also
Epic
gonna
Universe,
it's
yeah.
also gonna have the Mario Land, but
Mario Land.
it opens actually in 2025, so sometime next year. Um, but the Paris, they say the actual detail in the Ministry of Magic and like all the surrounding areas, like when you're walking in, you're going under the arch, all of it like really uh, mimics real being in Paris. So I think that's really cool. Like
Yeah.
it transfers you, even though you're in Orlando, Florida. It takes you all the way to Paris.
Belly. Yeah. There's they say it's more focused on the Fantastic Beasts series, which I never actually. I saw the first one. I don't think I saw the second or the finale. So I need to, study up on those before going. But I love Harry Potter, so
Yeah,
give me more.
I didn't see the last one. I definitely need to catch up on it as well. But yeah, Sarah and I were just talking about Tilly's birthday is today. Funny
Happy
you
birthday,
men-
Tilly.
Funny you should mention Harry Potter because Harry Potter's birthday is today, July
Is it
31st.
really?
Yeah, it's
Huh.
Harry Potter's birthday, and so back 2020, we took Tilly to Harry Potter World for her birthday, and she
Mhm.
got to do the whole experience where at Ollivander's, with the wand
The
selection.
wine. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a dope experience, especially because with COVID restrictions, it was a lot more intimate. They weren't crowded. Oh, you'll never get another experience quite
Yeah.
as perfect. But in the series, Harry goes to Hogwarts at age 11. She'll be 11 next year. So we're like, we're going to have to go.
Yeah.
She's going to have to get her Hogwarts robe. We're going to have to ride the Hogwarts Express like she's going to school and check out the Ministry of Magic and do the whole Harry Potter tour thing.
That sounds like a heck of a trip, man.
Yeah, man.
Keep me abreast of the details, man. Maybe we'll tag along. That seems like a good trip.
Yeah. So we actually had friends join us the last time. So definitely if we can make it happen.
Oh yeah. All right, let's do it, man. Well, with that, I think we hit a lot of topics. I think we've entertained the people. Some great takes. We can sign off when you're ready, man.
All right, man. Well, everybody, we appreciate you listening. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, leave us a comment. I want to hear, what you think about the Braves trade deadline. What grade you're going to give them. Have you watched any Olympic sports? You know, what have you enjoyed? What have you been disappointed with? Uh, Falcons. Give us your prediction on how they're going to do this year. We need to do that coming soon with the
We did one,
NBA.
just super early one, but yeah, we
Yeah,
need
we
to do
need
it
to
again.
do a win loss predictions, and yeah, we just want to hear from you. Just let us know how you're doing. Let us know what you think, and we appreciate you. With that, y'all have a good one. Peace.
Rise up.